Again, people, I want to do a follow-up on this helicopter thing. And when I found out they were both SeaWorld helicopters, since SeaWorld is on my shit list, if you haven't seen the movie BLACKFISH about SeaWorld and what they do to the killer whales, it's absolutely horrific the way they treat those animals. But I'll put a couple links in the description and you can go watch it. It's on YouTube. BLACKFISH was a movie, and it showed how they caught the whales and the things they did to keep the whales in captivity. So I'm surprised they're still around. And to be honest, the people that are still supporting them, I frankly don't give a shit if they crash in helicopters for supporting their ass. But I digress. Let's get back to why this helicopter happened, because a lot of people was like, man, how did two helicopters hit in midair? And I was the same way. I'm like, how could this happen? So if you watch this footage right here where this helicopter's coming in, SeaWorld is coming in, flying over the bay, you're going to notice right here, and I think they show it, right here is a part of the windshield, and this creates a blind spot for the pilot. This SeaWorld helicopter is taking off, and it's above and to the right of this pilot. And this guy's coming in, which tells me there's an issue about approach and takeoffs. They should be approaching one way and taking off one way to land. This guy's landing, this guy's taking off, and they got the same exact area. And evidently no communication because nobody knew. So here's this helicopter taking off right here that flies right up into him. And because of this is why he didn't see it. And that's how two helicopters run into each other. So this guy sees it. This pilot's looking at instruments, looking at other things. I mean, two people up front, they're not looking for a helicopter. And the helicopter crashes. Here's a little narration from this 60 Minutes in Australia that did this. If you want to go watch it, you can look up the video here, 60 Minutes Australia. They kind of go over the survivors and all the other stuff. Here we go.
At first, the joy flight was mesmerising, but this footage taken by Rian Steenberg soon inadvertently captures impending doom. As their helicopter is coming into land at SeaWorld, another is taking off.
So here's the pad. I don't know why they don't have separate pads or why this guy would take off in the exact same way this guy. To me, if this guy wants to take off, I would think you would always take off this way and you would always land this way. Runways have landings and takeoffs. They don't just, you don't have head-on collisions on a runway because one guy's flying into the runway the same way the guy's taking off. But evidently helicopters don't.
A few seconds later, Edward notices it's heading towards them and tries to alert the pilot. But it's too late.
Here's some more crash footage from the ground. I think this is the one that hit the ground early. Yeah, that one went straight down. So this SeaWorld, you piece of shits, I'm glad. I hope it cost you a lot of money for what you do to killer whales. Anyway, man, this whole front area is just... I can't believe this guy landed this plane. I mean, I can't believe that the controls weren't trashed. This is really amazing.
It's not until you see these pictures from afterwards that you appreciate just how catastrophic the situation.
So I'm assuming most of the deaths were in this one. I don't know if anybody survived in this one. I think they said everyone died in this one. And this one landed. Wow. Nice helicopters too. Except for the SeaWorld logo.
Was on board their helicopter. The entire windscreen and instrument panel had been obliterated by the other chopper's rotors.
Wow.
Somehow, the pilot now had to try to land the aircraft to save the lives of everyone on board. So the entire windscreen. Mobile phone footage taken from the ground captures the extraordinary moment the pilot manages to wrestle back control of their helicopter before miraculously landing it on a sandbank. Yet still, the danger was far from over.
Hello.
What's going through your head at that point? It was frantic on the ground. Several boats on the busy waterway raced over to help, and while the two couples were pulled from their helicopter and treated for their wounds, it quickly became apparent that on board the other aircraft, it was much worse.
So on the ground, I mean, you'd be thinking you're lucky stars that you're alive. At the same time, are you registering that on...
As Elmarie continues to piece her life back together, air safety investigators have been trying to figure out how two helicopters from the same company could collide mid-air so close to base with such devastating consequences.
It really comes down to...
On the Gold Coast last month, tourists are watching on, and they can clearly see what somehow two pilots don't. They are on a collision course. Investigators to have this many different pieces of video footage to review when trying to determine what caused such a catastrophic crash.
There's no way that either of those pilots knew the other was coming.
Take place, but SeaWorld helicopters, which is now shut down while investigations take place. Transport Safety Bureau. The Swartz and the Steenbergs have now been interviewed by the Australian Transport Safety Bureau. In the chaotic seconds after two helicopters collided mid-air on the Gold Coast last month, rather than run away from danger, dozens of brave locals raced towards the crash site to help.
Alrighty, so that's a little bit more information about the dumbass SeaWorld pilots that crashed into each other. Hope that helps. You can go watch the documentary. I'll put a link in the comments. Y'all have a good one.